Welcome to Throwback Thursday with one of our most popular guests, Dan Durston. I asked him why tent prices are skyrocketing, and I wanted to get the lowdown on some of the most popular backpacking gear on the market. Have a good week, and God bless.
Hey ho, everybody! This is Derek, and with me today is the only man to still eat bark and dirt from the trail just to feel closer to nature. Carl Mandrioli still rubs his dirt with teeth. It's like, yeah.
Thank you for that.
That's
Thank
good.
you.
That's good.
Welcome to the Backpacking Bushes podcast, everybody. With me today is my co-host, Derek Somerville. He's a man whose intent to always pitch good ideas that are lighthearted, not too intense, so that our fellow adventurers out there are never discontent.
Just remember, guys, you could have fast-forwarded that part, and you chose not to. Okay.
That was like the most puns ever in one sentence.
That was too many. Overkill.
Maybe a Guinness World Record, just saying.
Well, call him up.
We've got mainly a tent themed. We got like a tent/adventure themed episode. So
Correct.
Dan Durston from Durston Gear on the show.
It's a big deal. This guy's a big deal.
He's a big deal.
He did. And I like the way his mind works. It's totally different than yours.
Yeah.
And mine.
Very true.
So,
Derek, what was the first tent you ever owned? Do you know what it is?
Ooh, probably like a Walmart.
Okay.
2-person. I don't know.
Like the brand was Walmart.
No, it was probably like Coleman.
Right.
Something like that.
Okay.
What about you?
I had like my first tent that I owned was like a Sierra Designs clip flashlight 2 that I got for Christmas for my parents when I first got into backpacking. That lasted a long time. That was a good one.
Did you?
But yeah, I don't know. That was one of those tents that is, it has kind of almost like a cave hole at the beginning. You kind of crawl in as almost like you're like crawling into like a doghouse kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were popular for a while. Do you like that style?
No, I don't.
No, I think I'm done with those kind of types of tents personally.
Yeah.
So I like the side openings. Yeah, they've definitely come a long ways. And so we're going to talk about kind of next generation tents. And Dan's even going to preview a tent coming out in 2024.
Yes.
So we're going to get to that. But first, we've got a Bible verse, Psalm 119:14. You are my refuge and my shield. I have put my hope in your word. Okay. What is the definition of refuge, by the way?
Safe place?
Yeah.
You know what that is?
Condition of like being safe or sheltered from pursuit, danger, or trouble is what I had.
Dude. Yeah.
Safe place.
Would you consider the bathroom a refuge?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I mean, for a while, like when my kids were young, I feel like you couldn't even hide in the bathroom. Like they start knocking on the door.
So true. Oh my God.
But, okay, so the Bible in this verse says the Lord is our refuge.
Yes.
On the trail, do you think the tent is your refuge, like on backpacking trips?
I think partly that and partly the fire chat area.
Like that's a refuge. The fire's going, you're like,
yeah, I'm
hunkering down.
Get the food out, get the shoes off, just you're chilling in your 4-legged chair. It's great.
The definition of refuge has to do with being sheltered from pursuit, like from danger though, or trouble. So on our second night of our backpacking trip back in Banff, when we had the campfire going, and about a half mile away, we had the creepy murderers camped out. Were you feeling safe?
It was a good point.
Feeling safe?
I felt semi-safe. Yeah, we have a big group. Strength in numbers, all that. But I mean, I think there is always going to be like the tent. The tents, you're going to climb in there and just feel like, not even a bear can get me in here. Like you're just going to feel false security. But there it is.
I don't know. Like if you go back and you look at, bear attacks or bear deaths, are they plowing through the tent?
Yeah, I feel like
not usually.
I feel like the bear would just kind of go around and like smell it and be like, maybe like touch it. Right. I feel like it would be more like a angry moose or something.
Yeah, I think we have some like false senses of what can happen out in the wild and really in life. Like I was thinking about that today actually because at school we had a fire drill. So, we're evacuating the school in case there's a fire, right? Mm-hmm. Historically, has there been a fire at school where either kids got trapped inside or like the fire drill evacuated? We are now evacuating through these doors and avoiding this school that is engulfed in flames. Like, has that happened, once in history?
I believe on Little House on the Prairie.
Okay,
Carl.
that's fair.
So
that's fair. That's real. Okay. So I think the same thing is true with kind of the thought of like a bear or a moose going to plow through. So I think it's fine to feel like the tent is your refuge. I think that's good.
It's fair.
It's my opinion. Okay.
I'd agree. Okay.
Let's dig into the nitty gritty, the details of tents. Here we go. We got Dan Durston coming up right now.
Do it.
With us today is a man who's completed multiple long trails, designed one of the most popular ultralight tents on the market, and probably likes ketchup chips because he's from Canada. Dan Durston. How's it going, sir?
Good. I grew up on ketchup chips. It's good.
Oh, that explains so much. Yeah.
I got a little out of it these days, but my youth was very ketchup heavy.
Ketchup heavy. We had those on our last backpacking trip, and don't get me wrong, Canada's got some good stuff. The cheesies and the coffee crisps, those are good, but the ketchup chips, like, that's rough.
I've heard it gives a lot of Canadians like digestion issues over the years. So just
yeah, they're weird.
Facts.
My whole life's been a steady move away from ketchup. When I was a kid, it was on everything, like the mac and cheese and all this. Now it's.
I think that's where IBS originated from, was Canada, because of the ketchup chips. So if you have irritable bowel, everybody, that's probably why you got it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Is that a Canadian thing, or is that a Dan thing? Ketchup on everything?
I think it's a bit of both.
Like,
I think it's like a Canadian thing, and then I kind of like I really get into things, so I probably took it to the next level.
He amped it up.
Yeah. All right. Well, getting to like adventure related stuff, and perhaps adventures that don't involve ketchup chips.
Hey.
So you've done a lot. You've done some very impressive things. Like, what backpacking related achievement would you say you're most proud of?
I think we're going to talk about this a bit later, but I'm most proud of the Bob Marshall Open because we'll get into it a bit later, but it's just something that challenges you in like so many ways. And I think I developed like personally, like I'm not proud of it in like a tell everybody, but in terms of like me developing.
You can tell us. You can just tell us. Nobody's watching.
You made a video. You told everybody.
But I feel like I developed as like a hiker and an outdoors person like so much through those experiences.
That's cool. Let's you want to jump into this, Carl? What do you want? So tell us the story about how the Durston gear came into existence. How did it start up?
Yeah, so it's
the story.
It's a fluke, and it's like kind of a fluke, really. Like I am just a passionate backpacker, like the people listening to the show, like you guys. I kind of, when I get into something, I really get into something. I think I have this, like, in my life, there's been different stages where I've been way too into certain things. And anyways, when I got into ultralight, I just like really went off the deep end, super passionate about like everything, the gear, the hiking, like let's take everything to the next level. But I'm just a passionate user. And I was just geeking out on gear. I hiked the PCT in 2014 and was just thinking about tents and gear, how to make things better. Partly because I didn't bring headphones on the PCT. Like everybody's rocking the headphones all day long. I didn't have any, so I'm just in my own head.
Dangerous.
Thinking about like gear and...
Like, so you're thinking about gear. You're like, what can make my journey better? Like along those lines?
Yeah. Like I have these like design problems and I'm like hiking along and, you know, stuff's happening and you're engaged. And then eventually you're like, okay, we just got to plug out this 6 miles. So now I'm going to think about like, you know, why do backpacks like always, the stretchy pockets always wear out, and how could we make that better or something? I mean, it sounds pretty nerdy, but I would just like...
It's time to brainstorm though. It's time to
brainstorm hours.
Oh,
so...
Okay.
Carl, you do that in the bathroom. You do it on the trail.
Similar number of hours. A few hours a day.
Exactly.
So on the PCT, I was thinking about gear and just trying to make, like, I like trekking pole tents. They're cool. They're like complicated, like in a good way. Like there's all these different things you got to be thinking about at the same time, trying to make it work for all these different circumstances. So it's an interesting challenge. Right. And on the PCT, I didn't really like have any epiphanies on it. I was just like, man, like how could these be better? And I'd have the ideas, but you'd be like, oh, we could do this. And you're like, it's better at some things. It's worse at some, you know, is it really better? And
when you're saying this, that we could do this, like inside your head, you're literally engineering a tent and the kind of the angles and this and that.
Yeah. So like I was using some single pole pyramids, which are like nice and simple. And I love how they're simple, but then there's just one pole and it's kind of right in the middle. There's only one high spot. The pole's there, so you can't be there. I'm like I love how simple it is, but I don't like the pole. So then I'm like, well, maybe we could put like a hoop around the pole to kind of like broaden it out. And you're like, yeah, that would like help the headroom. But then there's this weird hoop thing. Or like we could add like a big X on top, or we could add a bunch of, you know, add this, add that.
He's playing with it. He's brainstorming.
You're literally drawing like blueprint designs inside your head as you're walking?
I mean, they're not quite that good, but I'm picturing ideas. Okay. On the PCT, I was thinking about those things. I didn't really get anything too far along. And then 3 years later, we hiked the Great Divide Trail, which was my wife and I all summer. And it was like, okay, we can like dust off all these like gear problems I've been working on. Back with no headphones, hiking all day. once I parameterized that, then it was like, oh, like the only way that this works is if the two poles are on one kind of diagonal and I sleep on the opposite. It's kind of this X floor plan. And I was just like, oh, that sounds cool. Like maybe I'll sew one up for myself. That was the limit of my aspirations. It was just like, hey, maybe I could make one of those. But on that hike, a company out of the States, out of California, had given me a pair of hiking poles. I was actually kind of bummed about the poles. Like they're nice poles, but I was like, I had these beauty carbon poles that I was going to bring on the hike. And then I got these like free $50 poles that I brought instead. And I was like, really? Just because they were free? Like, should have brought my nice poles.
I could probably break those for him too, Carl. You think? Think about it. I'll snap those in half.
So they were like good poles, but I'm just like, why am I taking like cheap free stuff when I got better stuff?
You get excited about free stuff, right? People are like, it's free.
Yeah.
Like, who wants
This
to
is
give me
Dan
free stuff?
Durston. He doesn't care about free stuff. He's Dan.
Well, maybe at the time.
So anyways, I just wrote up this little review for these guys that gave me the poles. And then they were like, oh, we're trying to like just do a bunch of projects. This was called Mass Drop out of California. They were like, hey, we're trying to just bring gear to market if you ever have any ideas. And they weren't thinking of a tent. They were like, maybe a cook pot or something like that. And I was like, what's new in like a pot? Like, we're going to make it like a triangle or like, I don't know. I feel like pots are a pretty solid problem.
That's right.
For tents, I had just thought of this idea and it was just kind of like, maybe when I get around to sewing one.
Right.
And so I was like, oh, these guys are going to make it. Like, that's even better. I'll just sketch it out and they'll sew it up and maybe I'll get a free one. They funded it. They brought it to market and then it kind of blew up. People were pretty stoked on it. Half of it, I think it's a good 10. Half of it, I think people like see my passion because like I think it's awesome and I'm passionate and I am engaged in the community and all this kind of thing. And it's cool. I think people like see it as like a very like grassroots thing. We're like just a hiker to try to make better gear and not corporate and all that kind of stuff.
It's a man of the people. It's a man of the people.
Yes.
You know?
Power to the people.
Yeah.
So we brought that out. We came up with a 2-person version. And then this company out of California, I think they like, I don't know too much about like their inner workings and all that kind of stuff. I think they were just trying to grow like revenue or something and not really caring about what they were doing. I think it took a lot of projects that maybe weren't so good. I don't know. Anyways, they restructured the company and got out of the outdoors market. And so this was like 2 years in. And I had signed essentially a 5-year contract to these guys because like I wasn't going to do anything else. Nobody else was like offering to like fund tents for me. So as they got out of it, they kind of gave the rights to somebody else. It's a bit of a story. The 5 years is almost up in a few months. So it's actually next year is like the first year we're just like a normal company. We can sell our own gear, all that kind of stuff. But this partner, they had a few batches, just what they could get. And it was like email a list and they're gone in seconds. And the website crashed. Like when my Dyneema tent launched, it was like, I got my life savings into this. We like remortgaged the house. And then you're like, here's the launch. And then like your website just like crashed and you're like, no. Like, it was down for like hours, which is, I mean, it's a good thing.
It's a good sign though. It means people are clicking on it.
It is. But you're just like, are they going to come back? You're like, come on.
Yeah, they are. They are. Come on.
They are.
Yeah.
But it's easy to worry.
For sure. Okay. And so here you are. And that kind of leads me into the next thought here. And so I've used trekking pole tents. And when we take folks on trips, there's always like a Durston tent. There's always, whatever, trekking pole tents. And so, okay, so here's my question. I own a 2003 Honda Accord. It's got about 200,000 miles on it. And I think that your current tent, the X-Mid Pro 2, I think is what it's called, is worth more than my car. So
yes,
why has the cost of tent skyrocketed so much in the last 5 years? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I think it's worth more than my car too. I've got a 2009 Honda. I was at the car dealership this week and I told them what it was, and they were like, oh, that's worth a lot of money for a trade-in. Let's go check it out. But this thing's beat. It's over 200,000 miles. I hit a deer with it. Like pieces are hanging off. They were like, this thing's worth $5,000. Awesome. And then they looked at it and they were like, we'll give you $600.
No way. Wow. What? No
I knew
way.
It was worth nothing, but
I'll give you $650 right now, Dan. $650 for the car right now.
Go here, six.
It's an Insight hybrid. It's good on gas. It runs beautifully and looks terrible.
So what's going on? Like why are tents worth more than used cars?
Yeah, so there's a few different things going on here. It kind of breaks down into 2 types of the market. There's like your mainstream companies and your cottage companies. Your mainstream companies are mostly just dealing with inflation. So they're all going to sell through retailers who are going to need their markups, and they're going to be more expensive because retailers are adding 50% or more.
I get the inflation thing. I know that's like, within the last year or two, but I want to say that the REI tents, which used to be kind of the entry level model, they doubled in price prior to inflation. And that's not even like the fancy tents. That's, with all your basic materials.
That's like right kind of, I think, early when I was getting into it. So I was maybe a little more out of the loop then. But I think what happened is that there's only really 2 tent factories in the world that make like most of these tents, like all your brands, like MSR, Big Agnes, Nemo, REI, Black Diamond. They're coming out of 2 factories. And I think a lot of that was one of the main ones in Vietnam. And I think the Vietnam dollar got a lot worse. Back then, I know that prices went up a lot just because like labor had doubled on those.
Trivia question, Derek. Do you know what the currency in Vietnam is?
Vietnamese dollar.
I don't know. Isn't it the dong? I think it's the dong.
The dong.
Yeah.
It is the dong. Yeah. Yeah.
Vietnamese dong. Sorry. All right. Sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
So I think that happened. And then I kind of came in right at the tail end of that. So I probably like don't totally understand it. But then there was a lot of inflation, and we've seen like 30, maybe over the last 3 years, like tents are now 30 or 40% more to produce.
Okay.
So that's really changed, and that's affected mainstream pricing. But then cottage pricing has been on a kind of a wild ride because like, I don't want to name names because it's all like pretty similar for like all these companies, but there's a bunch of cottage companies making tents like 2010. They're coming out. They're all pretty small batch. They're kind of almost the same price because they're like small batch, everything like that. They got a lot more popular, and most of these companies went to like proper factories and wholesale pricing, like for their materials and everything, and their costs came way down. And there was kind of a glory years, I think like 2015 to 2018, where these companies, like they got their costs way down, but they're selling direct to the customer, almost for a retail price. Some of these tents, they're like $350 and they're making them for like 70. It was pretty extreme for a bit, but that's really changed too. You've seen almost all those cottage companies have actually dropped prices in the last like 2 years, and the costs have gone like way up. So what might have been like a $70 tent for $350 is now like a $200 tent for like $280 or something like that. So that's really, the margins have really tightened up. I think it's just gotten a lot more competitive.
Well, there's a lot more cottage industries, and there's kind of just a lot more on the market in general. There's also a lot more adventurers out there too. So
yeah.
That is really interesting. Now, I was going to say, what type of like backpacker is the target customer for like the high end ultralight trekking pole tents or something like that? You know?
One thing that I think we've kind of hit on is I come from like a real desire to make things simpler, because like when you're hiking, the whole like super nerding out on like geometry and angles and 35 guy lines and being struts or whatever, like it's kind of fun when you buy a piece of gear and you're learning how to use it. But then you go out and it's raining and miserable and you just want something that just works. A big focus for me is like simplicity. But because of that, I think our tents have hit more of a broader audience, people who are like, I don't really want to try like a trekking pole tent because it's a bit weird for me. And then they see ours and they're like, okay, 4 stakes in a rectangle. Like I could probably do that. I think it's shifted the market a little bit from like a fringe to like a bigger fringe, but it's still going to pretty much be your ultralight people who are like really place the emphasis on that.
Interesting. Yeah. The reason why like I was wondering about that too is because I always thought about, the really true committed ultralight people are typically ones doing longer distances and through hikes. But then as we've run into a lot of these folks over the years, we're finding that these people are so wiped out by the end of the day. They're doing the miles. They just like crash on the side of the trail. They're not even pitching a tent. They like roll up in like a rain fly or something. And so they don't even want to take the time to pitch it, or, they're sleeping like on the trail or on a hillside where it's not even pitchable. And so I thought, well, if it's not for them, then is it for like ultralight backpackers that are doing like the 3 to 7 day trips? And if it is for them, like most of the backpackers we found just through this podcast, those people aren't doing, some of them are, but I would say 80% aren't doing like really heavy miles that really warrants the ultralight. So I was trying to figure out where that niche was.
I think partly people just love nerding out on it. And I come to this very like wholeheartedly too. It's just like, it's a spreadsheet. It's a challenge of like how light you can go. And all of a sudden there's this metric where you can almost evaluate your backpacking. I mean, this gets a bit unhealthy, but you're like, oh, it all adds up to a number and I can manipulate that number and achieve things. So I think there's a certain personality that's just drawn to that.
Okay.
And then there's people that actually need it.
Okay.
I hear from a lot of like middle-aged to older people that are just like, they can't carry the loads they used to, or they can't have fun. Maybe they can, but they aren't having as much fun doing that, so they want to go lighter. And then I think there's also just kind of a herd mentality where like everybody's got a certain like crazy light tent, and people, that's what's cool. Like, people look up to the PCT.
That is true.
It's like the new Apple iPhone with the backpack. Like new tent. Let's try it.
But
out.
you hit on the one. I thought it was gearheads. Like, I thought that was a target audience, is people that are just like, they want the latest, greatest. They want to mess around with it.
Probably.
Or they're like you said, like Derek, who just can't handle carrying weight anymore. So
yeah. Old people.
Oh, my shoulders.
Decrepit. Yeah.
Sure. I need to borrow your shoulder cream, Carl.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. We did and another follow up is, so one of the guys was on our we're in the Wind River Range a couple months ago. We had one of our Patreon trips, and one of the guys had your tent, and he's like, he's kind of messing with it, and he's like, man, this tent just works the best when you can find the flat ground. And every time I see like an instructional video, there's always like perfect flat ground in the mountains. And so he's like, man, it would just be so nice if you could get a trekking pole tent to be freestanding. And so we started talking. This is Jason from Oregon. I was like, okay, I know this is going to add a little bit of weight, but if you added some, grommets for the trekking poles, and you made it a 2-person tent, assuming both people had trekking poles, so then you had like 4 poles stuck in grommets. Is that possible, do you think? Could you make a freestanding trekking pole tent?
I can see his head like calculating it. Yeah.
And if you want to steal this idea and use it to make lots of money, like you're welcome.
I don't think he'll do that, but tell him about the tent catheter. Maybe tell him about that.
You would, on first thought, you would need them to connect. You couldn't have 4 independent poles, because you would need them to connect into a 3-dimensional structure. So you're going to have like 1 pole on like 1 dimension, 2 poles could be 2D. You need to have, I think, 3 poles coming together. Like, you could, for example, make 3 poles lashed into a tripod, and it could be freestanding. So you need to have 3 poles joining
with like tape or something, or a bungee
tape
cord.
That's your idea?
You could have like Velcro straps. You could have like pockets. You could have like the simplest would be a tripod where there's like a fabric pocket at each corners and at the peak, and they all just extend into there.
I see what you're saying, because it's going to collapse on itself if they're not connected.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you need that. 4 would be, 4 you could do a 4-sided pyramid, but if you wanted to actually have, but those are all coming to one point.
Right.
If you wanted to have space, then you need to actually like not have them come to one point.
Right.
So you're probably even need more than 4 poles.
So borrow your friends' poles or hikers you meet on the trail.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That is interesting.
Okay.
It's an interesting design problem.
Yeah. We'll next time we go backpacking, we won't bring the headphones, and we'll think about it the whole time. That way we can get into the mindset of Dan Durston and
That's right.
figure this out.
Well, if you're suggesting tape, I don't think your mind is really going to go Dan's way. So maybe keep the headphones on, and we'll let Dan do his thing.
Mask and tape. What's wrong with that? Okay.
Packaging.
All right, we're gonna say this at the end. I want to hear more about some of the gear you got coming up and what you got available, because I know you're more than just tents, obviously.
Yeah.
But we referenced earlier in the episode the Bob Marshall Wilderness Open, which is not. I don't think it's a very well known event. There's not a lot of people that participated in it on an annual basis. I just recently became aware of this thing. So what is this event, and can you tell us about your experience on the course?
Yeah. So I love it. It's cool. So there's been this event in Alaska for maybe close to 40 years called the Alaskan Wilderness Classic.
Okay, I have heard of that one.
And that one's kind of the inspiration for it. It's a point A to B race, or it's like a race in kind of quotes, where it's unofficially a race, because then you need permissions from land managers and all that stuff if it's officially a race.
Right.
It's an event.
Okay.
But that one you pick your own route, and it's basically a race. The one in the Bob Marshall is similar, but a lot more accessible to people, because you don't have to fly to like the middle of remote Alaska. So it's in the Rocky Mountains in Montana. It runs in May, which is one of the cool things, because the mountains are right in this like challenging spot in late May, like Memorial Day weekend, where like all the passes are still snowy. The valleys are maybe
post-holing galore.
The rivers are raging. The grizzlies are just out of the den, like looking for a nice protein feed. All that good stuff. So it's an A to B race. And one of the things I love about it is that I find for anything, if you're challenging yourself and you're expanding your comfort zone, then it's going to be more of an experience. It's going to be more meaningful. It's fun to discover you're capable of new things. And I've always been into that. Like just going light, ultralight in the first place was like, oh, like, can I do this? And you go lighter and lighter. And then I started pushing my trips in just like new ways. Like I do a trip with no food where you're like I have a 2-day trip I did with no food, a fishing rod, just to see if I could do it. And I probably wouldn't remember that trip, except I know that I didn't catch it.
That's kind of like a little mini Man versus Wild. We were talking about that one year.
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah.
That doesn't, wait. Yeah, isn't that taking the fun out of it? I mean, I get the challenge part, and I love challenges, but like the food's like one of the best parts about backpacking.
It is. Food's amazing.
Yeah.
But so I brought the fishing rod because the only food I brought was a little bit of seasoning for this fish I was going to catch.
Okay.
And so I remember it vividly. I was like, I'd been fishing for hours because I only was doing like 5 miles. Go in, get to the spot, fishing. It's like dark. I've got like 5 minutes of fishing left, and I get one on. And I reel it in, and it's to the shore. It's a beach. I could have just pulled it onto the beach and had like dinner, but I like waded out into the water and tried to grab it, and it got away. And I was like, oh.
Every contestant on the show alone does that, literally, and they always show them like, I finally got one, and then they like don't like swing it onto the beach, and they try to grab it, and it gets away every time.
It's terrible.
Swing it, put it on the
It's
beach.
terrible. So I vividly remember that and was like, oh. And now I did actually catch this fish on the second day, and then it's like, it was exciting.
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend it, but it's just kind of something more memorable to do once. Same thing, doing trips without a sleeping pad. Like, it's kind of like...
I don't think that's like anything. I think I'd bring the pad. I'm just going to bring the pad.
I just did it like a couple of times just to try to learn how you could like make a bed. Like, it gets a little too bushcraft, but like...
Okay, I'll say this. I will agree with you there. Because I there's an infamous story of me losing a sleeping pad, and I had to use the peat moss in the surrounding, and it was nice. It was actually really nice. I was like, this is doable.
Yeah. Have you done the peat moss, Dan?
No, I do like a little ditch that kind of like fits the hips, and then I do little leaves and stuff. I mean, I've done it like twice. I don't want to sound like an expert.
Now, on the trip where you didn't have the sleeping pad, now you're saying that you like intentionally left it at home.
Yeah.
Is that for real, or did you accidentally leave it at home and then like just say, you know what, this is on purpose. I'm just gonna try to see if I can figure this out.
Yeah. I would do that too. Either way, you wouldn't know because I would just say it was on purpose.
You wouldn't know.
Now we'll get to know you better, then we'll figure it out. Because Derek, we can see right through.
Yeah.
Right
Carl will accuse you of doing it when you didn't do
I will.
it. So.
Actually, I just did basically. So
the Bob is like this, where like you dial in your gear, you're kind of decently experienced as a hiker, and then here's this chance to take on a challenge, and it's so much. It's like physical, like it's big miles. It's kind of a race. It's evolved a bit. I think it's a bit less competitive now. It's more just like a personal challenge. Like, can you do this? You have to like plan your route. So now you're learning about like river levels and like snow, satellite imagery, physical things. Like I had never done more than when I first did it in 2012. I don't think I'd done more than maybe like 20 miles a day. And then you go out there the first day and do like 40 and like destroy your knees. And you're like, you learn a lot. And I love the Bob Open because every year it's like been a great physical challenge where I'm like learning about my limits. I don't want to like always hike at my limit, but it's cool to know that like if I needed to, I could like do 40 miles today, or the first thing to break is going to be my T-bands because they always are like the problem. And
weak hips is the issue typically with that.
Okay. Yeah.
So, okay, and just to clarify, so so it's like 120 miles. A lot of it's off trail, and some people are bringing like pack rafts. They're bringing snowshoes. So you're not really, a lot of them aren't going ultralight. So when you're talking about doing 20 to 40 miles in a day, you're not talking about just kind of this light and fast. Like you're plugging along through tough terrain. It's not like I'm just cruising down the trail. It's like tough stuff.
Yeah, it's tough stuff. There's a lot of post holing. You're trying to run that balance where you're trying to be light, but you need all this stuff. Pack raft is super helpful, but it's heavy. So I've done everything. I've carried like the pack raft and done some huge miles on that, but I've also done some super light things. Like I've done years where like I don't bring a tent, and I'm like, well, if it's nice, I'll grab some sleep because I've got a sleeping bag, and if it's raining, I'll just hike all night. I've never hiked all night before, so you're like, well, we'll find out what that's like.
Figure that out.
Just winging it.
Derek, I would like to invite you on the Bob Marshall Wilderness Open.
Could you hack it? Could you hack it?
No, I'm just wondering if you want to do it with me. Would you do this?
I don't know if you could finish it though. So
I would be the issue, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you would clearly be the issue. Yeah, okay. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I actually did reach out to somebody who's very fit, who's an adventure racer, who's a fan of yours, Dan, and I said, hey, after watching your video on the Open one you had on your YouTube channel, I was like, hey, any interest? And he's like, No, that looks too hard. He's
No.
so, and this dude's like, I mean, if anybody can do it, this guy can do it.
Yeah.
So
It's hard. It doesn't have to, like, you can set it at what you want though. Like you can go slower and like.
But you're getting the course ahead of time, so you can kind of plan where you want to go ahead of time, right?
Yeah, that's one of the fun things is the A and the B. You can plan your route.
Yeah.
The problem is you don't think of everything, and then you get to like the dinner the night before, and everyone's like, "Oh, we're going over here," and you're like, "Oh, I didn't even think of that." Like, I'm going over this stupid high pass, and everyone's cutting around the mountain, and you're like, it's longer, but maybe it's going to save me 4 hours of post holing or something like that.
Right. And there's people that have that are experienced with the areas. They know the kind of tricks of the trade. Like this is really bushwhacking versus this is just kind of like light brush to walk through. So. Yeah. I was impressed when I watched the video, so I think it's super cool. And so check it out. We'll have the link in our show description if you want to check out what the Bob Marshall Wilderness Open's all about.
Awesome, yeah. Well, what can we look forward to with the Dunston gear or the Durston gear? Sorry, not the Dunston gear. What do you got coming up? Like what packs?
Yeah,
anything? What's new?
Yeah, we're doing a ton of stuff. It's so much fun. We are, so we have a tent coming out tomorrow. That's awesome. It's not that drastic for us. It's a new, larger 2+ version of our Pro tent. So this is, nice. It's going to be it's awesome. It's the world's lightest tent that can fit 2 wide rectangular pads. So it's fun to nerd out on.
Super nerdy. I like it.
We have the 2-person tent, and then that's updated this year. I think it's now the world's lightest 2-person tent.
Really?
It depends on how you count it. Like there's some things you're like, that's a tarp.
That's a tarp.
Yeah, if it's not completely enclosed, you can't count that as a tent, right?
There's one thing that's lighter, but it's like an inner tent with like a tarp over like half of it. Okay. You're like, if it rained, that's not really going to cut it.
Okay.
So I think as far as I know, we have the lightest like enclosed 2-person tent, and then this plus version will be the lightest that can fit 2 of the wide pads.
And that's like a legit 2-person tent, because one of our complaints is companies are saying this is a 2-person tent and it's really like a 1+. Or it's like one and a dog or like a baby or something. I don't know. So that's legit.
Yeah. Like there's a bunch of ways. This is kind of something I'm passionate about. There's like a bunch of ways to save weight. Like traditionally you just like made it tiny and maybe you like cut off all the features. And and there's some of that, but you try to save weight in smarter ways, like efficient design and like geometry and minimizing seams and like nerdy stuff. But the goal is to make like super light gear that still is like good.
Sounds good.
For sure.
The tent's coming out, and then we have a backpack, a frameless pack coming out in a month from now. Ooh, that one's really cool because as we get a bit bigger, we get a little more ability to do like new engineering type things where like a lot of these small companies, they're not going to like develop a new fabric or something like that. They're going to be sewing, like they're making awesome gear. They just don't have that like level. And as we get a bit more popular, we're doing like hot bonding and laser cutting and like making custom buckles that are just going to work better. And like really like, there's a danger of getting too nerdy. I don't want to like get so nerdy that like 98% of people can't even tell the difference. And I'm sitting there like, this is so cool, and nobody cares.
Yeah. I think people care because people are.
I don't think so.
Like, you've got kind of like a cult following with your gear where people are like I don't even care what it is. I'm just gonna buy it because it's Durston gear.
Dan, your nerdiness is creating some beauty here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We have awesome fans. Like I'm so grateful because like it's so much fun doing this, and I just fell into it, and like. People are stoked about it. Like that's what makes it happen.
Let me ask you a question about your fans, because I did have, this is kind of like a listener question, is so like there's a Reddit like thread talking about tents. There's a random discussion going on YouTube. There's somebody's private email between people, and it mentions the phrase Durston gear or the X-Mid or tents or whatever. And suddenly you're on there like magically responding like in a very nice and thorough way. And people are like, I didn't even know he was like monitoring this. Do you have some sort of like computer algorithm where it's like anytime some of these keywords pop up, like you get a notification, you're like, boom, got to respond?
I wish I had like a bot or something that like scraped the internet. Although it's already like too much time as it is. Or even like an AI version of myself would be awesome. I don't have any of that.
We're almost there. We're almost there.
An AI version of myself. That is hilarious.
I think what works for me is I'm like sincerely passionate about the tents. I'm not just like somebody that works for a company and designs a tent and then plugs out at 5:00 or whatever. I'm passionate. I like talking about it. So I'm on like some of the communities and things like that, and I go there every day or two kind of thing. But
people appreciate it. They're like, hey, Dan talked to me online, and they're like, it's kind of like a badge of honor, to be honest. So
yeah,
the guy.
So
Mr. Durston.
The whole thing's pretty surreal. Like I'm in the Canadian Rockies. A lot of my trips are just like terrible sufferfest, like bushwhacking trips. So I almost never see like my own tents. I've seen my own tent once.
Oh, okay.
That was
What?
last.
Are you serious?
I mean, I almost never hike on like established trails. I'm doing this project right now where I'm trying to hike all the trails in the Canadian and some of the national parks here that ever existed,
Right.
and like a lot of them were like gone in the 80s. So it's like you bushwhack up this valley and see a few cut logs along the way and things like that.
So when you saw the person with the tent, the one tent, did you feel obligated to be like, "Hey, nice tent"? Like, what's going on? You want to talk about
This
it?
was like 5 a.m. I was getting an early start. I went through a campground. It would have been a little awkward.
Shoot.
The vestibule
knock on the
opens
tent.
and there's
Hey,
Yeah, knock on the tent like,
Hey, guys.
hello.
Can I get a quick tent review? I'm the guy.
I'm just going to tune up your pitch here just for a minute.
Yeah.
Tune up your pitch. I'd love to
That's
tune Carl's
hilarious.
pitch up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez.
It's what's weird is I do see like even on the tents, over the years that we've owned, if you look in the corner of like the Rainfly, it'll say like tent designed by so and so, and I always wonder like I don't know who these people are.
Yeah.
Are they encountering their own tents out on the trail, especially if it's by a big company like Big Agnes or something. But yeah, I think it's interesting.
That's cool.
So okay, so we got so you got tents, you got backpacks, you got other stuff on the Durston Gear site. We're gonna have that linked in the show description. You mentioned that you got new gear coming out tomorrow, which will be I think last week by the time this episode drops, and so you can check that out on the Durston Gear website. I assume by the time that'll be out there.
Yeah, I got some crazy stuff in the works. So I mean, so some of it's far off, but there'll be some cool stuff from us late in 24.
Do you want to share that right now, or is that secret stuff?
The one thing I've kind of said, I'm working on a freestanding tent, but because like over half the market's like wants a freestanding tent, and this tent's
literally the one that we just suggested?
yeah, so it's gonna use,
He's already working on it.
35 trekking poles,
35. All collapsible.
So you got to hike with the group, hike with the Boy Scouts. Yeah, it's a freestanding tent. It's really like nothing else. I'm really excited about it because when the X-Mid came out, I had the core idea, and then I was like, oh, this like actually works in like a whole bunch more ways than I ever thought. And the same is true for this freestanding tent, where I kind of was trying to do something different for a reason, and then it was like, oh, and it works better for like all these other reasons too.
Okay.
So that's out, and then I have a completely different product that's like nothing we do right now, and it's awesome. It's going to be the world's lightest of the thing that it is.
And that's 2024, you said?
Yep.
Carl's so happy. He like feels like he came up with that secretly.
No,
Yeah.
Well, I was like, we suggested, and then while we were talking, maybe he thought of the design for it, and he's like, I could probably have this out by 2024.
He's like, well, let me think about how I would do that. It's already made. It's already made over here. Let me entertain Carl for a minute.
You heard it here first. So we pitched an idea, and it's literally coming to fruition within the same episode. So
Wow.
You're welcome, everybody. You're welcome.
Wow. It's
All right.
amazing.
No, seriously, Dan, thanks again for taking the time, and yeah, keep us informed, and we're happy to kind of pump up what you got in the future, and we'll throw it on the podcast, let people know, give them updates and so on.
Sure.
So. Yeah.
Awesome.
All
Yeah,
right.
thanks, guys.
Have a good one. Are you tired of supporting outdoor brands that scour the globe, exploiting the most destitute people and the laxest environmental laws, putting profit above absolutely everything? No longer do you have to add fuel to the environment and social dumpster fire to get the best quality gear for your next hike. Introducing Magnet Designs. Through hiker design, tested, built, and owned. Everything they sell has been tested, tweaked, and punished along long trails all over the world. Check out their best-selling product, the Bend Alpha 90 hoodie. Made in Bend, Oregon, using USA-made from recycled material, PolarTech Alpha Direct fabric, ultralight, compressible, hydrophobic, breathable, quick-drying, and stylish. Weighing just 4.5 ounces in a men's medium. Put your ethical quagmire to bed when you support Magnet Designs. Be confident you are getting the most vetted products for what we do, with the smallest possible environmental footprint. Designed on the trail, built for trail life, handmade to order in Bend, Oregon. Visit magnetdesigns.com with no E in the designs.
All right, man. We had Dan Durston on. What do you think about that?
Passionate fellow. I liked him. No, it's good. I like the way his mind works. It's clearly opposite of ours, and that's why we need people like that, right? Come up with these like good ideas that actually can come to fruition and help us all out on the trail. So it's good. He was cool.
Yeah, he's super cool. So
I'm excited for this, throw up tent he's gonna get coming out next year.
Yeah, for sure. Ultralight, freestanding. I mean, I did suggest a freestanding trekking pole tent, and then he's like, we're coming out with one in 2024. You don't think that there's some coincidence going on there?
Obviously, he can read your mind ahead of time, and he
Right.
started making it. It's good.
Okay. All right. So some things he mentioned kind of we're talking about. So it sounds like he does intentional trips that are meant to not just challenge him, but almost like inflict pain upon himself. Would you agree?
100%. Yeah.
No sleeping pad, no food, like no tent on one.
I
of the
love
trips.
the
Like,
casualness too. It's like, let's just see what it's like to not bring a sleeping pad
right.
or a sleeping mat or a tent. Just
Right.
let's just swing it. See what happens. Like it's kind of nuts.
Here's my question too: is like he's doing all this by himself, so there's no like backup plan or help other than I would imagine like the Garmin in reach or whatever he's got, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What's the deal with that? So every Canadian we've gotten to know on our show, like primarily backpacks by themselves. Why? Why is that?
And they just like the solitude up there.
I don't know. I mean, I know that's some people do that down here, but just it seems like I don't know. I don't know if there's any sort of thing to that, but have you? Yeah. What do you think about the trekking pole tents in general? Are you up for trying one out? So his are pretty simple in terms of like 4 corners, stake it down. You put the trekking poles in the sweet spots to kind of make it taut. Boom, done. Lightweight. Worth the weight savings, or do you like kind of the more spacious? You just like the safety of the poles. What do you got?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's benefits to both. It is not, I mean, I guess I've never really tried the trekking pole one, right? So I don't know.
Right.
Like you're a wild sleeper. You might be knocking the tent over in the middle of the night. So
knocking the poles.
We you do worm wars in the morning and rolling everybody. So I don't know. I think it is nice to have all the space for like games and hangouts and stuff like that. So like we were just talking about that for the last trip.
But he said one of them he's got is very spacious. It can fit 2, wide sleeping pads.
That did interest me. I'd be curious about that.
Yeah.
So
because I haven't seen that. We've done tents that can clearly fit a regular pad, but they can't fit 2 wide ones. Not even close.
and after talking to him and like seeing like the way his mind works and seeing like he thinks about all these little details, it would be interesting to try. Maybe he'll just give us a free one, just try it out and see. It'd be interesting to try one of those for sure.
Right.
It seems like he thinks of all the little odds and ends.
If you were backpacking with him and he'd gone silent for like an hour, would you be like, "Hey, what you thinking about? What you thinking about now? What's going on inside that brain?" Would you kind of pepper him with questions?
I think you would.
I'm asking you. Would you?
I
do
think
that?
I would wait until a mealtime. Be like, so what's churning in the old noggin up there today? What do you got?
Would you give him like a pad of paper and be like, draw what you're thinking?
No,
right
I'm
now?
not going to get him a pad of paper. I'm going to get him a hot meal. I'm going to say, hey, let's chew on some ideas today. What do you got? What are you thinking about on that pass like 5 miles ago?
He's definitely next level in terms of like fitness too. I mean, doing some of the stuff he does and kind of like, oh yeah, I'll just do 40 miles today and get right back up tomorrow. Sore?
Most of it off trail. It's like, oh, my legs were shot, but I loved it. I'm like,
right.
I don't know. I don't know.
So, all right. Well, something to think about if you haven't, considered the trekking pole tent or kind of the thoughts behind it, something to investigate on the Durston Gear website. Certainly he's not the only one that makes those, but he's definitely one of the more popular ones currently. So,
yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool.
It's a big deal.
I've got, he talked about the Bob Marshall Wilderness Open, and I want to know more about that. So we'll probably circle back to that in a future episode, but
okay.
Because of the Bob Marshall Wilderness Open, I've got Bob Trivia coming up. You ready for this?
All right. Bob Marshall Trivia.
Okay, not Bob Marshall Trivia. Bob Trivia.
Just kidding.
Okay.
Bob Trivia. Bob.
Yeah. All right, number 1, Barker. Marley.
Price is right. Price is right.
Is that your answer?
Oh. Yep. Okay. What is it? Barker. I thought I was going to get a quick, easy one.
This is an easy one if you let me ask the question.
All right, go ahead.
Barker, Marley, Dylan, Hope all have what in common?
They're famous?
Okay, is that your final answer?
It's kind of vague. I mean, Bob Barker famous, Bob Marley famous, Bob Hope famous, Bob Dylan famous.
Okay. Well, it's Bob Trivia, so my answer was they're all first names are Bob. That's it.
And they're all famous.
But it's not famous. It's just Bob Trivia, my friend. Bob Trivia.
See, I'm opening my mind
Half
just
point.
like Dan Durston does. That was the dumbest question I think you've ever asked right there.
That's not very nice. Be nice.
How? What's the answer about all these Bobs?
Number
Could be
2,
anything.
what Olympic event?
That's a full point. Full point.
What Olympic event did Disney make a movie about starring
The moment
John
I mock one of your
Candy?
questions, you move on. These moments at the moment I mocked your question, you moved on right on. I'm going to try that next time. Hey, Carl, this question had no range of answers.
It's based on a theme, Bob trivia. Why is that a bad question?
What about all these Bobs?
I test out my trivia questions on my wife, and she got it right. So I don't know.
Their names are the same? I don't know. It's ridiculous.
Number 2.
We're all famous.
Number 2.
Go ahead.
What Olympic event did Disney make a movie about starring John Candy?
Oh, the bobsled.
Correct. Yes.
Sled
yes.
team.
I thought it was
Jamaican.
Jamaican bobsled team. I thought you were going to say Cool Runnings.
No.
The Olympic event is Cool Runnings. Okay. Number 3. A bad guy ties your hands and legs and throws you into a lake. What do you do until help arrives?
Bob in the water.
Yes! Now you figured it out. Good job, my friend.
That one was easy.
I'm so proud of you that you got 2 out of 3 and you passed the
I
trivia.
got 3 out of 3 and crushed it because your first question was horrible.
Oh my gosh, you're so ridiculous.
Now, if you had asked your first question last, I probably would have got it.
Probably. All right, set the stage. That's all about setting the stage. I guided you to victory. You're welcome.
Thank you.
That is all I got.
Well, that's all I got, guys. Thanks. I hope you enjoyed the interview with Dan Durston. Hopefully, we'll have him on again. Check us out online, all your social media handles. Leave us a review. 5 stars are preferred. And, Carl's talking about tape and tents up. So it's safe to say, hopefully, Carl will not be designing any of our tents. I think we're all safe and thankful for that. We will see you next time. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, for probably now 18 years, maybe 17, 18, Carl has been just spitballing this idea every trip on the trail with me. He's trying to just pitch me this idea of like a 2-pole teepee with giant toothpicks. And I'm like, Carl, dude, 2 poles? Toothpicks? And he's like, yeah, we could clean our teeth while we sleep. And it's going to be great. And that really makes me just want to have an AI version of Carl do this show with me.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.